Before we get into today's video, I just want to let you guys know that this video is for educational purposes only. Please remember to be kind to everybody everywhere, in your everyday life, in your home, in the grocery store, and especially in the comment section down below. Please do not show hate to anybody, anywhere. So good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing today? I hope you all are having an amazing day. I hope you all are having a wonderful week. Hope everybody is feeling good, feeling great, and ready to finish off the week strong. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about a situation that didn't actually happen here in the United States, but there's a lot of elements to this situation, and I think that it's very eye-opening and can give a new perspective to things that other people go through in other countries, not just here in America. Before we go any further, I did want to stop and thank today's sponsor, Factor. As we get ready to wrap up summer, eat stress-free with Factor's delicious, ready-to-eat meals. Every fresh, never frozen meal is chef-crafted, dietitian-approved, and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. You can choose from a weekly menu of 35 different options, including popular options like Calorie Smart, Keto, Protein Plus, Vegan, or Veggie. I personally typically get the Calorie Smart and the Protein Plus because those are the meals that really help me stay on my fitness goals. But you can also discover more than 60 add-ons every single week, like breakfast, on-the-go lunch, you can get snacks, you can get different beverages to help you stay fueled and feel good all day long. So what are you waiting for? Get fueled up and help stay on top of your goals with Factor's meals. And you can skip the overpriced takeout trap because Factor is cheaper and way more delicious anyways. If you want to try Factor, all you gotta do is go to factor75.com or just click the link down in the description box and use my code ChristinaRandall50 and you can get 50% off of your first box plus 20% off of your next month's orders. Yes, just go to factor75.com, use my code, and you can save today. Thanks again, Factor. So let me tell y'all about Rebecca. Now, Rebecca Cheptegei, and I'm going to do my best to pronounce the names in this video. I have listened to different news reporters say their names over and over again, and there are so many actual different ways that even the news reporters say them, so I'm going to do my best. I mean, no disrespect and all love. Rebecca Cheptegei was born on February 22nd, 1991 to her parents Joseph and Agnes. She was the second of 13 siblings, and so you guys can just imagine what it was like growing up in her home where she had that many younger siblings. They probably had a blast. It was probably a lot of love, a lot of fighting, and a lot of teaching each other with that many siblings. Rebecca was born in Bukwa, which is on the Kenyan side of the Uganda-Kenya border. Now, Rebecca's mother described her as always being an obedient child, but she also said that Rebecca was always very kind throughout her life. Now, a friend that went to school with Rebecca said that Rebecca was very determined and that even in elementary school, she was already doing really well in athletics. Like, she was just naturally athletic. Back in 2008, Rebecca joined the Uganda's People's Defense Force. She was promoted all the way up to a sergeant during her career, and she was also a member of their athletics club. Now, it's not exactly clear when, but she did go on to have 2 children of her own in the meantime. Now, after that, Rebecca would go on to become a Ugandan cross-country, long-distance, and marathon runner. She was the national record holder and a former world champion in mountain running. Rebecca would go on to represent Uganda at several world championships dating all the way back to 2010. In 2010 specifically, Rebecca finished 15th in the U20 race in the 38 IAAF World Cross Country Champions in Poland. She went on to compete in several other races that year and finished well in all of them. In 2011, Rebecca finished the same race in 55th place, but went on to her next run at the Madrid Half Marathon, where she finished in second place. During her next races that year, she finished third, second, and 10th. Even early on in her career, she was very successful. Rebecca kept this trend going over the next decade. She raced in 2013, she raced in 2016, and she raced in 2017. However, due to COVID-19 restrictions, Rebecca did not race again until 2021, when she ended up getting third and fifth place finishes. Rebecca won in the 2022 Padova Marathon and was second in the 10,000 meter at the Ugandan Championships. That same year is when Rebecca set the Ugandan national record of 2 hours, 22 minutes, and 47 seconds in the marathon event. Now, this year of incredible achievements is what earned Rebecca her place to represent Uganda in the 2024 Summer Olympics in Paris. During the 2024 Olympics, Rebecca qualified and competed for Uganda in the women's marathon. You can only imagine, okay, for her small hometown, and all of the people there, she is literally in the Olympics now. The Paris Olympics at that, the one that everybody was talking about this summer. She was there representing her country. Like, what a huge honor. And then she went on to finish in 44th place. Now, in between these races, at some point, Rebecca left her small home village and she moved to the village of Cheptegei in Kenya, and she bought property there to be closer to the athletic training centers. It's also said that she built a home there as well. It's a rural area that's main source of income comes from farming and cattle raising. It's also Kenya's biggest producer of the main ingredient in the country's staple foods. So when Rebecca returned home after the Olympics, she thought that life could only go up from there. She had been working basically her whole life. Like we talked about in the beginning, even her friend from school said that she was doing well in athletics even back into elementary school. And so you can see all of these little steps brought her to the Summer Olympics, representing Uganda. And her coming back, she probably had these big dreams. Her children, like, so excited to see their mom competing in the Olympics, and she had her goals set on going further. Unfortunately, she would not be able to do that. On September 1st of this year, 2024, 33-year-old Rebecca had got up that morning. She took her and her children. She went to church. She has a great service at church, and she was on her way back home that afternoon. When she got home, this is when her ex-boyfriend, 32-year-old Dickson Ndiema, attacked her sister with a machete and set Rebecca on fire. Neighbors said that they heard Rebecca and Dickson arguing. So when they came outside to see what was going on, they literally saw Rebecca running towards them, completely on fire, screaming for help. Like, you could just imagine the horror. The neighbors said that as she went to look for water and to get help, she could see Dickson pouring more gas on Rebecca. Then she saw Dickson catch himself on fire and take off. So the neighbors see Rebecca running towards them, screaming for help, and the neighbors trying to get water to put the fire out, and he's spraying more gasoline on her, igniting the flames even more. Now, both Rebecca and Dickson were taken to the hospital in critical condition. Rebecca suffered burns on 75 to 80% of her body. And mind you, it is said that she had come home from church and her two little ones were there when all of this happened. Dickson, the ex-boyfriend, had burns on 30% of his body. Just 4 days later, on September 5th, Rebecca passed away in the hospital. It is said that her organs went into complete shutdown and they failed, and that is why she ended up passing away. Now, at that point, the ex-boyfriend Dickson was still like on life support and was expected to probably make it. He was only burned 30% of his body. However, 4 days after Rebecca passed away, on September 9th, Dickson passed away as well. Investigators say that they had been planning on charging Dickson with murder if he recovered. However, keep in mind that charge in other countries is sometimes very different than the way that we handle it here in America. Now, according to people that are close to Rebecca, they say that the two of them have been arguing over a piece of land that Rebecca owned. Rebecca's family say that even when the two of them were still in a relationship, they had a lot of problems. Twice, Rebecca had reported DV to the police. But again, things are handled very differently over there, and hopefully things are going to change at some point. Rebecca's father, Joseph, gave a statement outside of the hospital the day that Rebecca passed. He said that he had reported his concerns about Dickson to the police, but nothing ever came from it.
As it is now, the criminal who harmed my daughter is a murderer, and I've yet to see what the security officials are doing. He is still free and might even flee, while I have lost a child whom I depended on.
Now, when I had first heard that he passed, internally I thought, like, oh no, the family is not going to get that justice. It's just going to be like an empty spot missing for them, the whole community, her children. However, I saw one of her fellow athletes being interviewed, and she said that the fact that he did pass was justice, because over there, if he had went to jail for this charge that they wanted to give him, he probably would have just raised money and ended up getting out.
For the death of the perpetrator, I can say justice has been done. Why is that? Perhaps if he could have been alive and taken to court, perhaps the victim would not have gotten justice. Perhaps he would have raised money and get out of police cells and eventually out of jail. And at the end of it all, the victim would not have get justice.
The guy who's done that, it's better that he lost his life, because wherever he would have gone, he would have not lived in peace, because he harmed someone while wanting to take away their rights. If it's matters of the heart, you can leave your lover and find someone else, because love isn't something that can be forced.
Organizers for the Paralympic Games, which was still going on when Rebecca passed, held a tribute for her after the marathon races. Paris's mayor has said that they will name a sports venue in honor of Rebecca as well, which I thought was very, very nice. Rebecca's passing was completely shocking and promoted fury all around the world, especially from women's rights campaigns who had for a long time raised huge alarms about killings of women in Kenya and other African nations. Africa had the highest rate of gender-based killings of women than any other continent in 2022, according to the UN. They estimate that over 20,000 women were killed there that year. 20,000 in 1 year. Now, Rebecca's tragic passing has reminded people of other Kenyan athletes that have been victims of femicide. In 2021, Agnes Tirop, who was a star runner and who also had broke a world record, was stabbed to death in her home, allegedly by her husband. Not long after that, Damaris Machua, a Kenyan-born athlete, was found strangled with a pillow over her face. Now, investigators believe that her boyfriend was the perpetrator. Some have said that the area that Rebecca was living in was known for men trying to get into relationships with successful female athletes that lived there for their money. Remember, they were living really close to the athletic training center. The neighbor that tried to help Rebecca has said that Rebecca was a wonderful neighbor and she was a wonderful person. Her neighbor also said that just before the incident that Rebecca had shared her maize with her, which is this corn silk that they use there, and that Rebecca had gotten it from her garden and that Rebecca had just harvested it fresh and gave it to her neighbor. Rebecca's mother is still in complete shock about this, and she just cannot even believe what happened. A military funeral was held for Rebecca in honor of her. They say that she will always be their champion, and this is just so devastating. You have a country that has a lot of struggles, right? A lot of obstacles that the people there have to overcome. And then you have these people that are athletes that work their whole entire lives to get into a place that Rebecca was in, or the other women that we spoke about today. We're not talking about people that just rolled out of bed one day off of their phone, looking at TikToks all day long, and then goes to the Olympics and wins an award. We're talking about people that sacrifice every day so they can have a better life, compete, and then turn around and provide for their family, because that's what Rebecca did. Rebecca was the main breadwinner of all of her family. Her parents, she took care of all of them. And then for an ex-boyfriend to come there and do this to her or to the other women, and then to know, just like the other athletes said, that video that I showed y'all earlier in this video, that if he hadn't have passed away, if he would have gotten arrested, there's a really good chance that he would have been able to raise money and just turn around and get out. Like, how scary that must be for a lot of the women there that are just trying to do the right thing. My heart goes out for all of the people in the community, especially her 2 children, her family, everybody that loved her, and all of the women and people there that are trying to make a better life for themselves. I hope that because this is getting so much media attention, that something will actually change there. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Other than that, I love you guys. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I will see y'all in the next video. Love you guys. Bye.